I can make your hands clap.
Hey folks, how's it going? We are back once again talking about the YouTube brain rot. Now, I just spoke about this in my previous upload, but I felt the need to elaborate more on this particular genre of YouTube because I thought that this brain rot stuff was a meme. I thought it was a joke, but it turns out, yeah, it's real. It's very real. And I got to witness it firsthand in real life. I was at the airport. I was waiting to speak to this flight attendant. I was in line, and there was this family in front of me, and one of their kids was watching something on their phone. And I couldn't help but I peeked at the screen, and yeah, it was a Digital Circus content farm. And that kid was like hypnotized by it. The mother was even tapping the child's shoulder like, we gotta go to our flight. And the kid was like, huh? And I was like, whoa, there it is. Brain rot is real, confirmed. And then the meme wasn't as funny anymore because I became extremely, again, concerned about the state of YouTube when it comes to this type of content. Like, what are these kids watching? And I actually went to a family gathering last week, and my cousin-in-law, I guess that's what he is, he's a teacher. He teaches middle schoolers. And I asked him, I said, like, so tell me, what's the difference between like us growing up as millennials compared to these generations that you're teaching? And he said, oh, they have no attention span. Like, the attention spans are fried. They are gone. He said, if you don't have like their attention, he said you got like 10 seconds of holding their attention, and that's about it. Like, this channel is no stranger talking about like bad things on YouTube, mobile game ads, content farms, Elsa Gate, but to actually see it get worse, to see it accelerate, to see this race to the bottom happen in real time, oh, it's bad. I even asked my viewers to hit me with their best suggestions when it comes to brain rot, and I watched some of these candidates on my Twitch, and yeah, it was really bad. So join me, folks, on this mindless rant as we talk about the state of YouTube when it comes to the brain rot content, what quantifies it, and what the future holds for our miserable species. But speaking of misery, ad time. Some things never change. This video is brought to you by MeUndies. Guys, I love comfort. I really do, if you couldn't tell. And I like to have comfortable boxer briefs that are form-fitting and made of good fabric and allow me to feel comfortable. You ever walk against a strong breeze and feel like it just cuts straight through your pants? Yeah, I'm not dealing with that. And neither should you. I ain't gonna feel shriveled up in my own pants, and that is thanks to the comfort of MeUndies. The comfortable ball caddy will keep me packaged up nice and tidy while I go about my fall activities. That's right, I'm getting my pumpkin spice. Also, we're no longer talking about undies, or just undies. You can browse your selection of versatile lounge wear. Anything from joggers, hoodies, and onesies. And with styles that fit anyone's personal aesthetics, you'll be sporting yourself in confidence and unmatched comfort. As always, MeUndies products are responsibly sourced, so you can dive in waist first with their problem-free philosophy. Try these undies for yourself, and if you're not happy, hey, then it's on MeUndies. So keep your cooler months even cooler by going to MeUndies.com/Saberspark to get 20% off your order plus free shipping. Heck, maybe go trick-or-treating in your undies, huh? No, don't do that. Don't do that. That's too spooky. Thanks again to MeUndies for sponsoring this video, and now back to my bitching. So, what defines brain rot? Okay, what does it even mean? To me, personally, I feel that brain rot is almost like the result of the advent of technology. Like, we've seen this before, and I mean like way before Generation Alpha and Zoomers. This goes back to like watching The Simpsons and how they made fun of it, or King of the Hill, where you've got like Homer and Bart just mindlessly watching television, where just drooling, just mindless, just staring into the void of the television. Or how Hank's like, well, there you go, Bobby, the MTV generation watching TV. You know, how about you get up and do something instead of being on the Game Boy all the time? You know, that kind of rhetoric has been around for a while. I've lived through that. I was one of those kids. I watched cartoons all the time. I played World of Warcraft way too much. I played Halo, I played Xbox. I was a kid who loved to play with these devices, with the hardware, watching the software, but there were limitations to that. Because you couldn't bring it with you. You couldn't, you know? Like yeah, you can bring like a Game Boy, but even then you have the games to play, and even those games kind of meet a certain quality of you know, standards and practices, I suppose. You couldn't bring Warcraft with you, couldn't bring Halo with you, couldn't bring the dinosaur internet that we had at the time, the 2000s, with you. It was limited for the most part. Until the arrival of smartphones, that changed everything. And with that, the floodgates were open, where it's like now you can bring the hardware anywhere you go and have access to infinite content for all time. Amen. And again, we saw this before with the likes of Elsa Gate, with pregnant Elsa with Spider-Man, with the most abhorrent, mindless garbage, low quality schlock that was thrown at children back in the mid-2010s. And we also saw it with mobile game ads too. So those were the predecessors. I feel bad because I observe parents who just put their kids in front of a tablet or a phone just to shut them up. And listen, I'm not a parent. I never will be. I feel bad for these parents who have to raise a kid. It sounds really hard, but I think what we see here is the results of, you know, the same way it's like, oh, the TV's raising these millennials. Okay, it's kind of the same thing with the smartphones raising Zoomers and Gen Alpha. And here's the thing, unless the parent does something about it, if these kids are just left to their own devices on YouTube, they're gonna watch a lot of schlock, because that algorithm is vicious. It will funnel you into the void, and you will never come back. To add to that, folks, like, I'm not gonna pretend that TV's always been perfect. As a matter of fact, during the 80s, when you had the likes of like He-Man, Thundercats, Transformers, G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, they got in trouble. Like, there actually was like some legislation that said we can't let these TV shows run rampant as glorified toy commercials. There needs to be a degree of education, of substance, of quality. So television back then at least had a moniker of quality control through standards and practices, compared to today, where there really is no quality control. It's the Wild West of upload, upload, upload from anybody, from anywhere. And that's a double-edged sword. Again, anyone can upload. And also, anyone can upload. And mind you, folks, as much as YouTube has changed throughout the decades, it is still the Wild West. You know, YouTube, and we'll talk about this here in a bit, takes a very hands-off approach when they can, where they're like, hey, it's not our problem. You know, as long as it's not like the most vile thing ever, it's okay. And that has had some irrevocable ramifications on people growing up. These folks are the platform. We will act as the vessel to provide the content, but we don't want to have anything to do with the content. You know, we'll facilitate it, but the content is on the creator. And again, there's some like light restrictions. Heaven knows I've been through them. But as far as quality control goes, YouTube doesn't play that game. They don't care. They don't. YouTube does not oversee anything. So, that all being said, with every passing generation, there's been an acceleration of the brain rots. And I feel like quantifying it, what makes it, it is content that has no substance to it. It's all sizzle, no substance. There's nothing educational. There's nothing of good intent. There's no good characters. Typically, it's low quality, minimal effort, and high turnover. That, to me, is brain rot content. And in this day and age where there are millions upon millions of people uploading content, it is, again, a race to the bottom to be the loudest in this sea of voices. Well, everyone's jingling their keys for attention, so how do I jingle my keys louder? Well, I know, oversaturated visuals and thumbnails, all caps, pandering to trendy properties like FNAF and Poppy's Playtime and Digital Circus. We'll do whatever it takes to scream above the masses of people so our voice is louder than theirs. Because YouTube doesn't really care about quality for the most part. They don't reward it. You run all the cost, all the risk, and if it does work out, YouTube's like, hey, we did it. It's like, we did it, you didn't do anything. So let's talk about, I guess, certain roles in this. Let's start off with folks who might blame kids. No, I think that's stupid. Kids are impressionable, they're inexperienced, they're not gonna regulate this themselves. We were all kids once. We all were. And that's just how it is to grow up. You want to watch the things that have been forbidden. I grew up in a very Christian household, and even I was like, well, I'm gonna go sneak off and go watch The Simpsons. I'm gonna go watch South Park. I'm gonna watch Comedy Central at like 2 in the morning and see those kinds of ads come on. You know, as much as my parents and my very Christian mother tried to, keep me from watching this stuff, I was still a rebellious child who wanted to see it because I wasn't allowed to. So as far as saying like it's the children's fault, screw these kids, no, they're just dumb kids. You can't blame them. However, the parents are the ones who do carry responsibility for their children. That's just being a parent. You brought this kid into the world, raise the child, make sure they're okay. Yes, the child will screw up. Yes, the child will go off and be rebellious and do things they shouldn't and watch things that they shouldn't. That's part of growing up. But for parents who put forth an effort, who try to at least monitor it, try to at least curate it, that's not, again, it's not a bulletproof solution, but it helps. So parents do carry responsibility because it's their kids, but I'm also not going to pretend that, nothing ever, there's no cracks in the dam. Because again, I was a kid once, and despite my very Christian upbringing, you better believe I watched South Park. And let's go ahead and just acknowledge, by the way, YouTube's role in this. Because folks are like, well, there's YouTube Kids, there's a YouTube's Kid app, that helps. No, it doesn't, not really. I have a nephew who's, a kid, and I was driving him one time, and he was like, yeah, Uncle Saber, I'm trying to watch this video, but, it won't let me. Here, let me just log out of the YouTube Kids app and hop into this other account that will let me watch what I want. So, yeah. I feel that the YouTube Kids app is more of this very flimsy excuse of YouTube to say, well, that's our answer to this for the parents to deal with, which, again, YouTube takes a very hands-off approach when it comes to these things. They wash their hands of it and say, hey, we just facilitate the content, we don't make it, it's on you to deal with. However, YouTube also got caught years ago. They got in trouble with the FTC and got sued and had a few $1 million because they were taking children's information on YouTube. They're not supposed to do that. That's illegal. And they did that. And the FTC is like, how dare you? I'll take you to court. Google, you're being fined for a few $10 million, whatever. And Google's like, owie, ouchie, yeah, we won't do it again. Meanwhile, they probably pocketed hundreds of millions of dollars by doing that. So back in the day, like, kids could have their accounts and leave comments. That's why nowadays, when you see a YouTube video that's, it's made for kids, there's no comments allowed. That's not allowed. Again, a very, I feel, flimsy answer of YouTube to address that, and them saying, like, we want nothing to do with this. This is on the parents and the kids. We just facilitate the content. We don't make it. That's on you. It's so funny too, because in the process as well, you have creators who make cutesy stuff, but it's not meant for kids. That animator Cass and their team will very frequently have their videos made for kids, even though the videos, despite featuring cute little cartoon characters, it's not made for kids. It's made for sometimes general audiences or even adults. And I love that they're in their rebellious ways to fight this. They put like very violent moments in the video as a middle finger to YouTube, saying, yeah, is that for kids? Really? This person getting their brain splattered on a wall, And in the grand scheme, YouTube is being annoyingly obtuse about the situation. They are doing the bare minimum. They want to get away with it. They don't want to be caught up in the web of, again, being responsible for content. They just want to make money off of it and move along. All right, let's talk about some of these specific YouTube channels that are some of the biggest culprits of brain rot. Someone did say, just as far as an honorary mention, Skibidi Toilet, because that almost seems synonymous for brain rot. I was told it is mindless, and that the original creator actually made something of substance with an actual story with the characters, and that it's the folks who copy Skibidi Toilet who are the real brain rot channels, or so I'm told. I'm saying Skibidi Toilet too many times, I want to jump off a cliff. All right, let's go on the list. So one of the channels I was told about is called Lanky Bonks. Mind you, 40 million subscribers almost. And I went through some of these videos. Roblox seems to be a big part of it, which, I mean, I know the kids love the Roblox. It feels like Minecraft is Coca-Cola and Roblox is Pepsi. And watching these videos, it's insane. It is like rapid fire editing, overwhelming, super saturated, very colorful, just always coming at you. I feel like it is stimulation overload. I can't even keep up with my boomer brain. But yeah, it's like, this is like taking keys and just going a million miles an hour, and it blows my mind. It works though. I mean, 40 million subscribers. It's, again, a race to the bottom. Who can be the most obnoxious? Who can be the most in your face? Who can be the most loud? This isn't about quality, it's about screaming. It's a screaming contest, and boy, can LankyBox scream. It's weird because I see some effort. Like, these edits aren't like the worst. I've seen far worse, but they definitely seem targeted to children and just keeping their attention and overstimulating them. Gotta put a Family Guy funny moments window in their videos, right? But hey, LankyBox, good on you, 40 million subscribers. I guess it goes to show you that, once again, YouTube's not in the quality control business. They're in the content making business. And brother, business is a booming. Next, there is Benji X Scarlet. So I've never heard of this channel before. They have nearly 4 million subscribers. It blows my mind where folks are like, oh my God, Saber, you're YouTube famous. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm a niche micro celebrity at best, and I will die and fade off into oblivion like everything else. But as far as these other subscribers, these other channels that have millions of subscribers, I've never heard of them before. So, you know, I guess fame is relative. But for Benji X Scarlet, it's a musician, this guy, and he makes the most repetitive, most mindless songs I've ever heard on YouTube. And I've seen some bad ones from the Elsagate era, which I thought the Elsagate stuff was put to rest. We're finally done with it. Nope, they're back. They just changed their skin. They're skinwalkers, and Benji's part of that. And as of late, they've been targeting Inside Out too. I love the Inside Out Skibbity Toilet videos. Those are a mark of genius. These lyrics are brilliant. Here, listen for yourself.
I'm Skippity Joy, Skippity Pop Pop Pop. I'm Skippity Sadness, Skippity Pop 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 Pop.
I'm Skippity Fear, Skippity Pop 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 Pop.
Again, nearly 4 million subscribers. Salt in the Wound. Got some real glazing going on with the Feastable songs with Mr. Beast. I guess, again, Benji here knows their audience. And I said, what quantifies the Brainrot? And it really is intent. You know your audience, you know your viewers, you know your demographic, you know who you're pandering to. And for Benji and LankyBox, they're pandering to children, impressionable children. And here's the thing, YouTube throws their hands up. They're like, that's not our problem. It is what it is. Content's being uploaded, the kids are watching it, and hey, that's just the way it is, folks. That is just the internet landscape today. Go fuck yourself. But the biggest culprit that I've ever seen when it comes to the masterminding of YouTube Brainrot, in my opinion, is Max Design Pro. This channel has nearly 11 million subscribers. Now, I've been on this platform for a while, and let me tell you, the YouTube Shorts program changed everything. This channel has made its empire specifically due to YouTube Shorts and how YouTube, in order to combat TikTok and compete with it, just dumped so much, preferential treatment and let the algorithm get supercharged. Let me put it in perspective for you. The folks who make Digital Circus Glitch have over 11 million subscribers. Max Design Pro is like 200,000 subscribers behind them. And this channel did it just because of YouTube Shorts alone. Take that in for what it's worth. Subscribers on YouTube are not nearly as valuable as they once were. It's viewership that matters more. But YouTube Shorts in general too are just kind of like ad rev wise, not really bringing the big bucks. I've been there. I've done the ad rev on YouTube Shorts. If you get like millions of views, you might get like $50. It's pitiful. So if you look at the oldest videos they've made, they actually had some pretty interesting character designs that kind of remind me of like a storybook character from like some scholastic book. But then you see the brain rotification of this monkey character, and then a chicken nugget with Riz, and how they just went off the deep end. All the memes, all the trends, all the TikTok and YouTube brain rot just created the perfect storm of what I would consider one of the champions of YouTube brain rot. Amen. I mean, I watched a few minutes of this and it was truly unbearable. Yeah, and I never would have expected to hear Cotton Eye Joe in the context of this content in this day and age. Yeah, like literally, how has Cotton Eye Joe lasted for this long? It refuses to go down. I'm happy for Joe, but I'm not happy for the content farms or the brain rot. So overall, my final thoughts on the situation: what do we do about the brain rot? Who is to blame and what happens next? As far as responsibility goes, I'd say YouTube. I'd say they carry the most responsibility. And so much of this is the great transition of how the entertainment landscape and how we create content and how we consume content has changed. When I was growing up, it was just Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, and it was Hollywood and a handful of very talented creators who had to put together these shows that were very expensive. And there was a system in place during that time. A lot more checks and balances and standards and protocols. These TV channels and networks that owned the properties and worked with the advertisers and had also legislation that held them to at least some degree of accountability, they were the ones who had to oversee it. There was, again, more quality control. But now it's been scattered to the winds. Television's kind of dead. And a lot of these channels and networks tried to move on with their own streaming services, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Paramount Plus. And those channels, those streaming services, don't make nearly the same amount of viewership as TikTok and YouTube. Like, everyone has moved over to YouTube. Kids watch everything on YouTube. The streaming services are falling behind. Like, the only property I know of that has put up a valiant fight and tries to keep up in pace is Bluey. Bluey is like holding up the pillar of quality entertainment in this day and age. So YouTube, I think eventually, I wouldn't put it outside the realm of possibility of American Congress saying, hey, so maybe you all should do something about this. We need more standards and practices involved on YouTube front, which can be horrifying because content creators are like, let us just do our thing. We don't want to be held to these restrictions. It's a double-edged sword. Once more, YouTube and how they take a hands-off approach for the most part can be a blessing and a curse. And currently in the genre of brain rot, it is most definitely a curse. So yeah, we kind of are standing here at the edge of the abyss potentially. I don't know if it's going to get better. I don't know if it's going to get worse. I don't know if this race to the bottom is still continuing. Most likely is. I'm not sure if there will be a breaking point with the pendulum swings and quality content. There's more of a demand for it because there's so much garbage out there. But at the same time, children and their dumb little brains, they just want to look at the shiny, fun, pleasing, dopamine-releasing cartoon characters and their dumb, mindless YouTube shorts and TikToks and content farms. So hopefully, as far as it goes, maybe YouTube might take action to at least cull these content farms and pump the brakes. But ultimately, this is a platform that takes a hands-off approach, and I don't see that approach changing anytime soon unless legislation is enforced to make them take action. So we'll see what happens next. In the meanwhile, try to read a book, go out for a walk, drink some water, and get out into the real world because the internet sucks a lot. It can be amazing, it can be terrible. It truly is a double-edged sword. But folks, what do you all think? Again, I grew up with a television I couldn't bring with me in the car because of the smartphone. Now the hardware is there, the software is there, YouTube can follow you anywhere. It's infinite entertainment forever and ever, multiple lifetimes. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Is it a double-edged sword as I've claimed? I think so, but what do you all think? Tell me in the comments down below, and I'll see you all next time.